And we're back after another break. Very, very sorry. Turns out I just am horribly depressed. No, that that doesn't tell the whole story here. So I don't fully know kind of what's going on with me. I've just kind of been in a bit of a funk, a bit of a fog. I just can't really, I don't have a lot of motivation right now. And I've just kind of been chalking it up to your boy depression, but there's also the fact that I was horrendously ill for like 2 weeks, and stress just about life and stuff, and obviously can't go an episode without mentioning her, but obviously April. So it's all kind of just a big bag of this, that, and the other. Surprise, surprise. Which all just kind of adds up to I don't really want to do the fucking podcast right now. So, which kind of fucking blows, obviously, because, you know, I like doing the podcast. I really do. It just, I'm not feeling super creative lately, and I just kind of want to be a lazy shit and play Star Citizen, and I've kind of fallen down this obsessive rabbit hole of pardon me here, we're just dealing with technical issues with the microphones, shock horror, and we're trying a new recording technique tonight. So we after the absolute hoodwinking I got the other night where I lost an entire hour-long episode, we've changed things up. So we're giving Adobe Audition a shake here, because while Reaper is a one-time purchase of $60, there's something about it that just kind of makes me blech. So we're giving Adobe a shake here while I still have a free trial of it, because it's fucking $30 a month, because Adobe just doesn't want you to own anything. Those days are long gone. So, yeah. But anyway, excuse me. Yeah, I really do like doing the podcast. Obviously, y'all know the setup is insane for what I do. So, it's just kind of not the hyperfixation right now. So it's hard to kind of drag myself out of the current hyperfixation, which is play Star Citizen and learn about the worst people you've ever seen in your entire fucking life. If there was one bad thing about being sick the other week, it was, besides being sick, it was falling down the rabbit hole of YouTube documentaries about YouTube personalities and finding out so much shocking information about how many truly terrible people are out there influencing your children. So, food for thought. 2 episodes in a row. So yes, obviously I still kind of can't seem to stick to a consistent schedule, despite my best intentions. There is a script partially for this one, and I'm just kind of skimming, because I did write the intro out here, and then we kind of just talked about it a little bit there, but like, it really just kind of boils down to me being creatively frustrated and annoyed. Yes, it's very much a self-eating snake, in the sense that, like, I want to record all the time. I do, and I sit, these desks are kind of like in an L. Like, I have my gaming desk over on my left, and then we've rotated the standing desk so that it's against the wall, and it just makes one giant L corner desk that takes up like the whole corner of the living room. And every time I sit down at the gaming PC to turn my brain off and play Star Citizen and forget all my responsibilities, I still, out of the corner of my eye, can see the Rodecaster and all the mics and the boot, like everything's all set up here now that I'm home. So, yeah. Excuse me. And this one, you know, might be a little bit less edited than they usually are, which is saying something, because from what y'all can tell, they probably don't seem very edited at all. They are. We're drinking out of a sippy cup tonight to Try and avoid the disgusting mouth sounds I noticed in the last one. But yes, anyway. So, yes, it's very much a self-eating snake in the sense that, like, I do want to record all the time. But right now I just kind of feel like I have nothing to say, or I can't think of anything to say, so I don't record, which makes me frustrated, which makes me want to record, and then I can't, so I get frustrated. Rinse, wash, repeat. And then it also feels like there's pressure to record, knowing that some people from real life listen, and it seems like I kind of have to like put things out for them, but then I can't think of anything, so I get frustrated. You get the picture. So I'm just caught in a loop that I can't seem to get out of. And like the last time this happened, where I kind of was like jammed up against the creative wall, metaphorically speaking, the answer was to just force myself to record. Like, just sit down in front of the mic, and whatever came out regardless of quality. And then we come back here to people from my real life listening, and like, do I want to put out just shit content in my mind? Because like in the grand scheme of things, it's all kind of shit content. There's nothing of any importance here. Like, and especially now that I realize like what the podcast is, which is just basically a love letter day. Not even a love letter, just like it's to April with something. Definitely, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. Nothing negative. It's just, it's to April. Like, here's all the things I couldn't say, and here's all the things I wanted to say, and here's all the things you never understood, and here's all the things I wish you understood, and then here is my struggles now that you're gone, and here's how you ruined me kind of for dating by just being who you are, and now here we are. Anyway, that's not in the script, so let us just shut the fuck up. But yeah, do I want to put out shit content? So this is kind of a fun insight into how my brain works. And like so many of my thought processes are just like self-eating snakes that I can't seem to break free of. And this ties back to like my spiraling thoughts, which is part of the reason I got into therapy, is because I was self-aware enough to realize that like, oh, okay, I can see what I'm doing here, and I don't want to. So but what's everyone's favorite therapy word? Intentionally. Oh, I don't have a fun sound effect for this. Do I? I guess not. So let us try and make an intentional effort to not let the thought spiral control me and choke the life out of me being creative. So let's start with some positivity. And when I wrote this was prior to the next piece of information I am going to reveal here. So I do have a whole ass script here, but then this stuff just kind of came up. I wrote the script on Saturday and then just didn't get to recording this weekend. So there were a few things that came up in that time. So might as well get the fucked up one like right out of the way, right out of the gate here. So I don't even remember why I was doing it, but I was on Twitter and it doesn't matter how I got there. I came across the news that January is engaged. Hold up. Wait a minute. And for any new listeners and anybody who's forgotten about her, because I almost never talk about her that often, January was the relationship I was in before April and autumn and New Girl and May, January was the girl I was with for almost 10 years, 9.5 years, we'll call it. And we broke up in April 2023, the month, not the person. And that was 8 months ago. And as far as I know, she's only been dating this dude for 4 months and they're engaged. So, you'd think my reaction would just be, fuck! No! Fuck! Sorry. That's the new sound effect. Oh, you know what? I have it busted out too, so I can just, fuck! No! Anyway, you think that would be my reaction, right? You think I would be really upset about this. And I saw it and I kind of just didn't feel anything. I just kind of went, oh, well, good for you, I guess. It's what she always wanted. Like, I never heard the end of, like, when are we getting married? When are we getting married? When are we getting married? And there was always a small, medium, large part of me that just went, I don't know that marriage to you specifically is the vibe, is the right move. And thankfully, we never did get married, and we were able to end that relationship with relatively little drama, right? Like, there's no kids, there's no marriage, there's no divorce, there's none of that shit, right? It just kind of, we were able to end it amicably and go our separate ways. And like, there's no way to really say this and have it not sound like I'm just going to say it and you'll understand here, but like, I kind of don't, not kind of, I just don't care. And I really thought that I would, like, feel something. And I kind of don't. And not even kind of, I just don't feel much, if anything. The only thing I really feel about it is like, okay, well, this kind of lends some validity to my thought that maybe you were cheating on me. But at the end of the day, like, does it really fucking matter? Not overly, really. Like, live your life. It was a relationship that was destined to fail, regardless of if we had both put effort in, and we were just not the right people for each other. And like, I've talked about this quite a lot on the show, honestly, about how I care more about April and my relationship ending, which was 2 months, than I do about January and I's relationship ending, and that was almost 10 years. So it really kind of shows you where my head is at and who had a bigger emotional impact on me. I don't know. But I only bring it up just because, like, I don't really have anybody to tell it to. And yeah, nobody in my real life cares. I mean, I told Scotty and okay, he wants me to call him Black Lightning or Black Thunder or something like that. And I am not going to do that. We're just going to call him Dre. But I told Scotty and Dre today, and they were both kind of like, what the fuck? For real? Because they both know her. They've met her and knew her on and off the entire time we were together. So for me to be like, oh yeah, January's engaged. Dre was like, what? When did you guys fucking break up? And I told him, and he was like, oh, well, how do you feel about that? And I gave him the same spiel I just gave the podcast. So it's just kind of interesting how, you know, you think you'll react a certain way to something and then just don't. Like, I just kind of, it, I don't know. I don't know how to put it because there's no way to say like, oh, I don't care and not have it sound like, okay, well, obviously you do care. And I care in the sense that I'm like, what the fuck? Now I'm more curious, like, were you cheating on me? Which would just make me mad. And Dre asked me today, he's like, how do you feel about it? And I'm like, it just kind of makes me mad because it just makes me wonder even more if she was cheating on me more than anything. So that really is the long and short of it. Just thought it was interesting. And then I have two more like topic ideas and then the whole script still. But so what do we think here, guys? I have trauma dump about April, finally, and healing for me, her, or both. And I don't know that those are off the cuff ones, but I definitely am. I realize like, and all you guys hearing April come up is just fuck. Am I going to overuse those so much I get copyright striked on YouTube? More than likely. But like, yeah, I don't know if they're off the cuff ones, but I was listening. Scotty and I were talking today about the podcast, and he was asking me, because he had said he skipped one and he couldn't remember, and I was just running through them, and he was like, "No, I really like the one." I was like, "Oh, I figured you skipped like 5 questions because it's just like 30 minutes about my cat." And he was like, "No, I really like that one." I was like, "About my cat?" He's like, "Yeah." So I went back and listened to 5 questions, and then I thought, what about all these vaulted episodes? Because I was showing him how there's like, there's 4.5 episodes, and one of them's not even an episode. It was just me something about April at one point, and it was meant to be for her, and then I ended up just ranting for like 20 odd minutes. But and then so I went back and listened to the original episode 37, the one I never posted it because I was a little too drunk, and it was all about April, and it's very emotional and blah 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 blah. And then I was listening to it today. I was like, I should just fucking post this. Like, who cares anymore? Who fucking cares? Because like, she doesn't listen. She doesn't give a shit. So I wish she did. I really do. But I can hear the Frenchman just no. So yeah, I'm very tempted to just post it, honestly, just because there's a lot of interesting stuff in there, actually. And like the 37 that went up was fine. I think I was drunk and I just talked about microphones and mixers for too long, but because I had to come up with a bunch of content on the fly because everything I wrote I couldn't use because like 3/4 of that script were about April. So I don't know. We'll skip the topic ideas and just kind of get to the script, and we'll see where we're at. Kind of more towards the end here, but yeah. So, what time is it? You know what? I need to hang tight, y'all. All right, and we're back. You know what? I don't even think I have the I don't. Do I? No. I got rid of the fucking sound effect that I would use for intro or break transitions. So anyway, moving right along. I guess the hub intro is just the go-to now. So, shockingly, and this makes less sense now that I didn't start with this, we do have a topic today, and even more shocking, as I punch the fucking microphone, they have nothing to do with April. Surprise, surprise, nature's healing. Oh, that was funny when I wrote it in the coffee shop on Saturday. Yeah, I left the house on Saturday and went out to a bougie fucking coffee joint to write this script because I thought, let's you see that online all the time. Like, what do you do when you're in a creative slump or whatever? Like, get out of the house, like get a change of scenery. So I did that, and it kind of worked. And I have this new app I'm trying that's supposed to like use uh beats and music and stuff like that to kind of induce a flow state, and it kind of does work surprisingly. I don't know if it's like a placebo effect or whatever. I'm just going with it, but it's called Endel. I want to say Endel. I found it on some tech bros fucking YouTube video. I've been watching like MacBook reviews because I'm thinking about buying one in the next few months. But anyway, yes, I thought that was very funny in the bougie coffee shop where I giggled to myself with all the business people as I showed up in a plaid jacket and cowboy boots. Anyway, so this is one I had started like noodling on the other day when I was working away. And so since I've been back in town from the out-of-town job, I have to apologize. The edits on this are going to be so aggressive because I was working outside all last week, and we're like right at the tail end of a cold snap. We have a Chinook coming in the rest for tomorrow, but it was definitely like between minus 20 degrees Celsius to minus 35 degrees Celsius, and that's just not what, that doesn't even include the wind chill. And I wasn't like outside, but I was in the building, but there's no heat, and like all the soffits are open, and it's just fucking cold in the building. So I'm a little sniffly still from that, hoping I don't catch a fucking head cold, especially today. I forgot my toque like an idiot. For my foreign listeners, beanie, I think y'all call it. A talkway I saw on TikTok. Anyway, so yes, this episode is going to be very aggressively edited. So yeah, since being back in town from the out-of-town job, I've noticed that like I'm a little bit bored at work and having a hard time staying focused and like on task. And I wrote this at the end, but I feel like I need to preface it at the beginning. Scotty, this is not a 25-minute admission of me just dogging it since I've been back in town, just so we can get that like right out of the way. This is just something I've been noodling on, and it just kind of turned into something else here. But like, anyway, yeah. So I'm having a hard time like staying focused and like staying on task, and like it would be all too easy to just kind of blame this on, ADHD or whatever. I can't help but wonder if maybe I'm just bored because I've been doing the same job for 10 years. And that's not really that surprising, I suppose. Like 10 years is a long fucking time. But it was a long time to be with January, let me fucking tell you. It didn't feel like 10 years. But where is it? Hey. But you think it would be hard to like get bored in a career with so many options and like facets and avenues. Like plumbing is there's more to it than just like snake and drains and setting toilets. Like you can really specialize and like carve out a niche for yourself if you really, really want to. And that's why like for a lot of my apprenticeship, I avoided certain things and tried not to do them because it's very easy to get like pigeonholed on certain things like mechanical rooms and heating systems and stuff. So I very much tried to not do those things. And here's the next line in the script. I seem to end up doing the same 5 or 6 things, like especially these last few years. And it's very easy to just fall into like complacency and routine. And like there's only so many times I can run heating lines, gas lines, or a drainage group before it all just kind of becomes boring and fucking repetitive. Because once you've done it once, you've done it a million times, right? Like there's only so many ways. Like, yeah, you're going to run into like situations where you have to get creative and kind of work your way out of a corner. But for the most part, there's only so many ways to run like a 3-piece wet vented group. There's only so many ways to run a main. There's only so many ways to run heating branches and gas line. Like, you can get a little creative and you can get a little Western, but at the end of the day, you're limited by what the code says you can and can't do. So you will find yourself in interesting situations, and I definitely have at one point or another over the last 10 years. I've seen my fair share of shit and done my fair share of things, but for the last 5 or 6 years, I've just kind of ended up on, we'll call it drainage, and that's barely. Heating lines, that was a big part of my year last year, was working with the Frenchman at that job with the welder and pipe fitting and blah, blah, blah. We've talked about that ad nauseum. Water lines and the odd little bit of gas line here and there. Because, yes, surprise, surprise, at least in my province, plumbers do natural gas lines as well. I am a dual-ticketed journeyman. I'm a journeyman plumber and I'm a journeyman gas fitter. So they're trying to change it now and take it away from us, but we do get 2 tickets when we go through. Anyway. So yeah, like, while it does change from job to job, the bones of all this are always the same. Like I said, there's always the same starting point. There's always the same ending point. And even like the challenges have started just being this same. It's either height issues, space constraints, other trades, routing, blah, 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 blah. It's the same shit on every fucking job. So, like, how to keep the job engaging and interesting and not just coast on through, like, totally checked out. And I don't have any solid answers, to be honest with you. I'm figuring it out in, like, real time because I just kind of realized this last week that I was like, oh, I'm just, like, bored at work. So I don't really have a good answer for this, right? Like, I'm just kind of fucking bored because I've been doing the same thing for like at least 2 or 3 years here. So, and like, while I was more engaged when I was in leadership, I'd also never been so stressed in my fucking life. And it led to like many miserable nights and some fun, interesting health problems, I have to say. So like, maybe leadership isn't the answer. I really seem to thrive in like a number 2 role, and that's not a poop joke because I'm a plumber. It's like foreman lead hand kind of shit. So maybe that's the answer, but like, how steady and how much longevity will a career have if you're content to be number 2 and never advance? So currently, while I am entertaining the thought of engaging with leadership again, I am beyond hesitant for reasons we've really previously spoken about. Or maybe we haven't. At this point, I genuinely have no idea what I've spoken about on the show, so very sorry if this is all a rehash, which is very true. This many episodes in and my piss poor memory, like, who can really say what I've said when I've said it? So when I started in the industry many, many years ago, 10 years ago plus, the end goal was always to end up in leadership, to be a foreman. And that's like every stupid first year's idea of just a fucking great time for whatever reason, although some of them are smarter than others. And then ultimately, it's definitely like one of the clearer cut grass isn't always greener situations I've ever seen, at least with my company, because our MO towards advancing staff into leadership is to hand them the keys to a vehicle, a set of blueprints, and a very tepid good luck. And it's very sink or swim with what feels like little to no support once you're in the field. And while I am fairly talented and better than the average bear in my job, I also came into this career with no leadership experience and no experience like managing a team or running a small crew or anything even remotely resembling that. I was very much just kind of my own, in my own little world for most of my career, doing my own thing or helping a journeyman or something. So I never really got the chance to have that experience to be a leader. And it's come more easily in the last few years as I've worked on it. And therapy's been a big help, actually, to kind of have some confidence and realizing that, like, I do have the know-how and I do know what the fuck I'm doing. And these guys do have a reason to listen to me. But, and it's funny how many times I've actually had this conversation with guys in the past few months. Like, Caillou and I have definitely talked about this because he got the same thing. Like, here's the keys to a truck. Here is a set of drawings, which might be hands down be the worst, one of the more awful set of drawings I've ever seen in 10 years. And it feels like I say that on every job now, but the drawings we had for the out of town job were genuinely brutal. And then Dre and I have talked about it before too, because he went through the same thing. He got advanced like me before, he was probably ready, and it went about as well as for him as it did for me, unfortunately. So lost my place here. And like, while I am fairly talented and better than the average bear in my job, I know I said that already. Fuck. What's the point of having a script, guys? I'm leaving it in. Fuck it. In my case, though, like, I was advanced too soon. It's sad to say, but like many years removed from this situation, and it's easy to like look back in hindsight and really see where it all went wrong. Like, I was so eager to advance to the next level that I never really stopped to ask myself if I was truly ready. And even during many sleepless nights where I wondered, like, am I good enough to do the job? I never had like the wherewithal to be honest with myself and say, while this may be the right fit for me someday, currently it isn't the right time. And the Frenchman hates when I say this stuff. Like, he genuinely believes that I'm capable of doing the leadership portion of our job. And he's probably right. I am. But in my head, I'm still not ready, even 10 years in. And this is a fun conversation I get to have with apprentices every few months, where they say, it's going to be so much better when I'm a journeyman. I can't wait. Being a journeyman is going to be so awesome. And my response now is I just look at them and I go, why? You're still going to suck. You're only 4 years in. Like, when you get your journeyman ticket, it's not worth the fucking paper it's printed on. You're still fucking useless. I didn't start feeling like I was worth a shit until 2 or 3 years ago, honestly. So take that for what you will. But not all journeymen are created equal, and especially with today's crop of kids, none of you are journeyman material for the most part, and you only snuck through because of COVID. So think on that, you bunch of fucking dorks. And I'm also realizing here now, and I didn't write this down, but there was always the race to advance within the company and within the field, because I felt like I had to be making more and more money to support fucking January. And we've spoken about this before too. The episode was Tragic Backstory Unlocked, I want to say. I've talked about this before in like an earlier episode, but there was definitely like, I felt like I had no option but to keep advancing and just go until I dropped, basically. And it's been very, very fulfilling and rewarding to be able to take a step back and just be a guy. You have no idea how much I enjoy it and how much stress is off my plate and how much I actually look forward to going to work now that I don't have to be in charge. It's just magical. But it's very funny to say all that, knowing that I'm considering like taking on a pseudo leadership role here in the next couple months. But But yes. Excuse me. In my head, I still aren't ready, even 10 years in. And yeah, the training still isn't there. If it ever was. I remember we had one meeting for just the foreman and the office staff, and our safety officer was asking, if you've taken the leadership course for foreman, he needed our certificates. And I was like, I'm sorry, there's a leadership course that is available to us? Why has no one ever fucking mentioned this to me before? That would have been really handy to know. But just my company things. And yeah, like, I'm still not comfortable or confident enough to be the front man. And nowadays it seems there's like even less support from the office than before. And this was a topic of many discussions with Caillou and I, as he felt and feels largely the same that I do. Like, no support, no training, a very soft pat on the ass and a dismissive good luck. Like, get out there, little buddy, and make us do your job. And any genuine concerns are kind of like glossed over or just outright ignored. And there's been many, many phone calls I've had with my dad where I'm like, hey, man, like, I don't know that I'm up for this because I'm freaking the fuck out because I don't have the experience. I've never run into this before. Like, I don't know how to handle conflict. I don't know how to handle like the interpersonal stuff with the general contractor and my sub trades and the other trades. And like, I never really got any support for it beyond like, well, figure it out. Or my favorite answer, like, well, you should know this. I'm like, okay, glad I called for help, and this is the fucking answer I got. And this is all very negative. And there were many, many perks to being in leadership. There really were. But in the end, for me personally, the perks did not outweigh the negatives, unfortunately. And I am much happier just being a journeyman and puttering along that way, at least for now. So, and we're slightly off topic here, as the question at hand is like how to stay motivated when repetition and sameness are kind of grinding you down. And when I'm working with like the Frenchman, for example, I don't really seem to lack motivation. He very much knows how to motivate me. And in the end, I usually just end up giving 110% because I want him to succeed. And I know if the roles were reversed, he'd go balls out for me. So who am I to do any less than that for him? And the problem really lies like when I have to motivate myself. And this was a big problem for me when I was a foreman, being my own motivation. I really often found it was a struggle to stay on task or stay focused, especially if I either didn't want to be doing the task or didn't care if it wasn't my job. Like, and I have a feeling that's something to do with like ADHD, but who can be certain, because my psychiatrist doesn't want to seem to do his fucking job, which is a story for another episode. I'll give you a spoiler alert, though. Everyone who thinks Canada's healthcare system is just the cat's fucking meow, while it has its perks, some shit would be better off privatized. And I can feel the Frenchman rebutting that as I say it. So maybe I'll take that back. But there are a lot of negative. Anyway, let's get back on track. I'm not educated enough about it to have a proper discussion about it with myself. It's a story for another episode. Anyway, excuse me. All of this wasted breath to say, like, I need to find a way to motivate myself. And I talked about this at the top of this section. I was hesitant to even like talk about all of this on the show because the job I'm currently on now that I'm back in the city is Scotty's. And as we all know, he is a regular listener of the show. So here's hoping he doesn't hear this and give me shit tomorrow so I can just... Fuck! Hopefully he'll know that I'm like not dogging it on site. I'm just finding it hard to like stay in gear lately. And there are many other factors that could be contributing to this as well. Like, given we're just coming out of a major cold snap and it's hard for anybody to work in like minus 30 and stay motivated. And like, as the audience knows, I'm kind of weaving in and out of a depressive episode for the last month that I just can't kind of seem to shake. And like, we all kind of know what that's about. And I talked about this at the start of the show, right? Like, I don't know what it is right now. I'm just kind of in like a funk and I feel foggy. Like I can't think straight and I don't know. I know, but I don't know, you know? And all those words to say that after 10 years at my job, it's just hard to care as much as I once did. Like, is that shocking to anyone? Like, how much do any of you really care about your job after 1 year, 2 year, 5 years? Like, yeah, some of these kids I work with stop caring at 7:01 and they coast through the rest of the day. And I don't know. The way I look at it is like, we're 10 years in. So obviously that's 10 years of experiences and things I've done and jobs I've run and jobs I've been on and et cetera, et cetera. And at this point, I think that after 10 years, I'm just kind of jaded, honestly. I'm just jaded and I'm just burned out on the industry and my company, and it really seems like nothing ever changes because everything's the same with this. Like I said, like nothing ever really changes. It's wintertime, so I'm working in the cold and trying to deal with that. And like at least I'm inside and protected from wind and stuff. I could be doing groundworks and that would suck a million dicks too, but I don't know. There's no real answer to it. It's just kind of like, I was thinking about this, like, am I bored because it's been 10 years and it's hard to stay engaged with this stuff because it's not new and I can do most of it with my eyes closed and in my sleep, and it's just, it doesn't interest me anymore. And this is something I've always struggled with. It's like, if it's not interesting to me, I kind of don't fucking care. So it's coming up with like mental games to trick myself into caring and giving a fuck, right? So it's just this time of the year and where I'm at right now, and like I said, like I'm just in a funk and can't get out of it, and like I don't know. I don't have any answers. I didn't finish the script right because I just kind of ran out of gas. And then I have these topics in the end, and I think I'll save them for another day because it's getting late here, but I just wanted to sit down and try and record something and see what came out of it. And it felt good. It felt right. I feel like I've been lying to you, podcast, because that was one of my favorite jokes. I have no secrets from you, podcast. So, yeah, I can't make any promises here, guys. Like, who knows? Some days I really want to just record a quick, like, podcast is going on hiatus. I'm just not feeling it anymore. But I don't want to do that. I really want to just power through, and that's just the quitter in me going, like, give up. So, we'll take it day by day, and we'll see what we see, because, you know, it's hard not to sit down and press record and then just not want to talk about April. And at this point, I was thinking about this today. At this point where it's at, it felt like it was like building and building and building and building, and then at the crescendo, I blocked her and sent her that voice note. And now we're just kind of in this gray, like, no man's land. And I'm already in my head, like, kind of half planning an episode that I tentatively have titled, like, Trauma Dump. And it's just going to be about her. And I'm just going to word vomit and just get it all out. And I don't know if this will ever actually be a thing. Because sometimes I'm like, yes, do it. Just, she doesn't listen. Who cares? Just say it all. And then other times I'm like, well, let's keep it to yourself. But I don't have an answer. But I make no promises for upload schedules. I've said that from the very beginning of the show. I don't know what the upload schedule is. And the minute I tried to nail one down and commit myself to one, I entered a funk state and couldn't record anything. So we make no promises for now. It will be what it will be, and there will be episodes when there are episodes, which is not conducive to building an audience, but that's not something I ever really cared about. It was just for me, and everybody else is along for the ride. So we're back, and hopefully it really looks like this episode did record, and I really hope I don't have a corrupted version come off the Rodecaster, because to go and edit this in Audition, I think I'd blow my fucking brains out because none of my markers transferred over. So I think I need a second keyboard and a second mouse, or a fucking laptop. Honestly, I don't know. But yes, we did it, y'all. We made it through another episode. So thank you for being patient with me if you have stuck around. And I'm very sorry that my mental health is just kind of kicking me in the ass right now. And I fucking hate to even use those words because it's just so cringy and Gen Z. But yes, I really have kind of been getting my dick kicked in by my own brain, which is just delightful. Like, why would my own brain ruin my own day, bro? But I don't know. I don't want to say we're back, and then I don't want to say we're not back. We just are. The podcast is, and it will be what it will be, and who knows? I make no promises, and if you want to stick around for the sporadic uploads, I will thank you for it, and if it's just not your cup of tea and you want to come back in a few months, that's your prerogative too, and I'll thank you if you come back. So for now, I think that will be a wrap on episode 44. Podcast is on YouTube. For how much longer, I don't know, because I kind of don't see the point in having it on there until there's a video component, if there ever is, because I do get very gestury when I'm doing these. So I don't know, the hand motions aren't that exciting. I don't know who would want to watch me anyway, but for now, the podcast can be found on YouTube at youtube.com/@Rackham42. That is at RACKHAM42. No video versions yet. Like I said, it's just YouTube takes the audio and then makes it a YouTube video with the thumbnail as the video for whatever reason. And the podcast has an email if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or criticisms and would like to send them my way. It is dumbereveryday42@gmail.com. And if you can't understand my poor Canadian accent, both those links will be in the episode description. And I think one of the next upgrades is going to be looking into a website, so I can just have it be rackham@dumbereveryday.com, which is not a real email, so don't send me anything there because I won't get it. But other than that, I hope you mob have had a great week and are feeling fantastic. And wherever you are, I hope you're not having extreme winter weather. And if you are, stay warm. And I will catch you mob in the next motherfucking episode. Hooroo.